Welcome back to Big Movie Mouth Off, the podcast where three Salt Lake City-based critics fight about film. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I am Adam McDonald.
Guys, welcome. It's episode 15. We are
Wow.
as we record, we're in February. This is truly the doldrums in the film
Yes.
business. It is really hard to find interesting things to talk about. Luckily, Sundance just ended a couple of weeks ago. And Adam, you and I got a chance to participate a little bit, maybe not as much as we used to. And Brooks, even though you didn't go this year, you've been to a lot of Sundance in your life. So
yeah.
we're going to start off by talking about Sundance. We're going to come back after that and review Argylle, the latest movie by Matthew Vaughn. We'll come back after that and do our guilty pleasures. Cat in a movie edition. I'll explain. And then we're going to get back to coming attractions. It's been a while since we've done that. Let's take a little break and let's get back to business. We're going to come back and talk about Sundance. Okay, the Sundance Film Festival happens in Park City. You know about it. It's a big deal. Dozens and dozens of movies premiered every year. Lots of pickups by big studios. It's a great way to get a head start on next year's Oscar season, especially in the documentary category. And because of that,
yeah.
I typically cover for my radio station the U.S. dramatic competition and the U.S. documentary competition, which means that I'm watching at a minimum 20 films in the space of that week. It's a lot. This year, I didn't cover it. Did you cover it this year, Adam?
No, so originally, normally I take the week off and go cover it, but my dad turned 80 this year, so I thought it was probably more important to take that time to go visit him and
Happy
be with
birthday,
my family.
Dad. Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. And they do listen to this, so he'll appreciate that.
Well, then happy birthday.
So yeah, I got to go surprise them in a place where I work, which is kind of interesting. That was unique. So I was like, hey, let's do that. That's more important. So I did actually go as a civilian this year. I did a couple digital ones. I saw a couple in person. Yeah, and I think we both have thoughts not only about the movies, but I have thoughts on how some of the digital screening works and how I think we can dive into that as well.
I've covered it the last 4 years. I didn't cover it this year. And I've been a part of this digital version of the festival for the past couple of years. They did it in COVID. They did it the year after COVID. And they even gave you an opportunity to do it last year. This year, they did make some of the festival available digitally, but they didn't announce that until pretty late. I think the digital experience has been amazing. And it's part of the reason why I chose not to cover this year, because I don't care about going up to Park City and dealing with the crowds anymore. Look, I love seeing a movie in the theater as much as the next person. But when it comes to festivals, the opportunity to do it at home in my comfy chair,
Take it.
it's magic. Yeah. So I think they were smart to offer that, at least on a limited basis for this year. And I hope they do the same thing next year, because after a year off, I don't know about you, Adam, but I felt like I missed it. You didn't cover this year either, Brooks, did you?
I haven't covered since 2017.
Do you think you'll go back?
I don't know. I mean, when you have a kid, it makes it tough. It's right after the year rolls over, so you only have so much time off.
Do you feel like the movies that you need to know about, you end up seeing later anyways, because they get picked up? Yeah.
You always see what you want.
If you don't know about Sundance, Adam, just real quickly, describe what a Sundance movie is.
Well, according to South Park, it's a bunch of gay cowboys eating pudding.
Is that even at Sundance?
No, but that actually is how they got their start with making movies, because Lloyd Kaufman saw them screening the movie out of the back of their van on Main Street, and then brought them in to do Cannibal the Musical. So,
I was meaning Brokeback Mountain.
Oh yeah,
neither one was there. But
so I mean, yeah, Sundance. It's kind of interesting because it really started out as just complete indie films, indie filmmakers going there in the hopes to get picked up by bigger studios. Of course, it's gotten bigger and bigger. And, now it seems like a lot of films go there every year that are already been purchased, but they were accepted into the festival and then they were bought beforehand. So like a couple of the movies we're going to talk about actually did get picked up before they got there. So the experience is kind of more, a lot of the films feel more mainstream as far as having a bigger budget, and some don't. Some are truly like, hey, this was made for $5 and, a flashlight for the lighting.
Like the Greasy Strangler.
Like Greasy Strangler, yes, which I still need to show counts.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. So some of them are more slick and polished and feel like something that's ready to go right into a movie theater or Netflix or something. And the running rule and kind of gag is that every other year Sundance is good.
Right.
because you go there and be like, oh, this is the most amazing movies ever. And then next year you're like, why did they greenlight the Greasy Strangler? I mean, I don't understand like what's going on. But then you get like the Babadook and you get some other great gems out of there. So it feels less independent than if you went to something like Slam Dance, which is also a local film festival running the same time. I'm sure some of the big name ones like Tribeca and Cannes maybe be a bit different, but it's still a lot of fun to go. Every single year that I do go, I know that come voting time for the UFCA, I'll have all my non-English and documentary films down.
Right. It's true.
I will at least have seen enough to participate.
Yes. My complaint with the digital aspect of it is that they can sell out, which I think is stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they can.
they'll sell out of
They
digital
limit
screenings.
they limit the quote unquote tickets. It's really dumb.
I wonder if
And-
it's like a bandwidth thing, maybe.
It's not. It's a
Sundance.
demand thing. Yeah.
They have more money than King Solomon.
Yeah.
I doubt that's true.
I mean, it's
you never know.
Bob. Bob's got
Yeah.
the money.
We
Come
are
on.
talking about the arts here, Adam. They probably don't have nearly as much money as you think.
Bob does.
Bob
get
does,
from
yeah.
him. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
get Sean on this.
So it's that, and then also like you have to go see it at a certain time. Like you have to see
Right.
it, okay, you buy a ticket for the 18th, you've got until the 19th to watch it, which if you're especially going as a film critic or going professionally, like that's not a lot of time to watch a lot of movies. And you really can overload yourself, as I did last time when I saw 7 in a day and couldn't sleep for 2 days. So overall, I do like the digital experience. One of the movies I saw on my 65-inch TV, I don't even know if I could have watched in the main theater because it was that nerve-wracking.
I know the one
Yes.
you're talking about. Let's jump into
Yeah,
the
let's dive
films
in,
we
so.
saw, and let's start with that one. That one is Skywalkers, and it's basically a love story about two people that are known as rooftoppers. These are urban explorers who basically go onto the tops of buildings, skyscrapers, illegally and take photos of themselves. There's a huge internet following for this kind of thing. And it is a movie about these two people from Russia who became the preeminent rooftoppers. And I don't know about you, Adam, but I wanted to do what they were doing. I wanted to be
Oh,
where
I
they
didn't.
were.
No, none of that.
So this isn't the Robert Zemeckis movie
It is not Robert
with
Zemeckis.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
It is definitely not a
Okay.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt vehicle. It is two people that you've never heard of unless you follow the rooftopping online community. It's shot so gorgeously. I can't believe the color, Adam, the crispness of the shots. It is absolutely gorgeous. It helps that the two people, the stars, are easy to look at too. They're beautiful people.
And they're likable.
And they're very likable, and their story is really interesting. You want them to succeed. My one beef with this movie is a beef that I have with documentaries quite often, and I'm curious, Adam, if you agree. It felt directed to me. It felt like pieces were put in place either in post or ahead of time by some light quote unquote scripting. What did you think?
No, I'm definitely with you because a lot of times with documentaries, you can see that they're very kind of raw footage, but also there's going to be some tweaks, of course. That's the whole point of the movie making process. And talking about this movie, maybe kind of go back and think of Wildcat, which we gave Best Documentary a few years ago with the UFCA, in that there was a lot of raw footage, but you could tell they kind of massaged it a bit.
Yeah,
And-
you can see the stitches sometimes.
Yeah. And that's not always a bad thing. It just kind of depends what you want from your documentary. And the one thing I really enjoy about this and like Wildcat and some other ones is a lot of times documentaries have like, there's this push behind it as far as, oh, here's the deep meaning I want you to get. And it's going to be biased one way or the other, which is fine. That's how all things are. But sometimes I just wanted a story, a true story about something that happened. And this gives you that, even though, yes, it very much is like, I don't know if it was in post, they went through and like changed the lighting or did the sound, but the things that they were able to show, there were certain times when I was like, they had to have gone back to the scene of the crime and like,
It felt
done this
like it.
again.
It felt like it. Yeah, it absolutely did. It doesn't take away from the experience though, because
no.
Let's be honest, this is meant to be a visual, physical experience as a movie,
Mhm.
and it works brilliantly in that regard. I think we're going to be talking about this movie in several months. I think it's going to be around when award season comes. The other movie you and I saw together, Adam, we sat right next to each other. Thank you for buying me a ticket.
You're welcome.
Was Ghostlight. Incidentally, the name of my other podcast, but we won't go there right now.
But you're cheating on us with another podcast?
No, I'm cheating on them with you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
This was a very Sundance movie, by the way. It's about actors in a community theater troupe putting on a production of Romeo and Juliet. And because of the circumstances of some of the people in the play, the Shakespeare text reflects some real life themes for the people. I don't want to give away too much because I do love the way the directors slowly revealed how life connected with the script of Shakespeare's work. But these kinds of movies, Adam, are risky where you're dealing with people who don't have a lot of film experience. They might be stage people, they might be friends of the director. There's a lot of familial passion around these projects, but not necessarily a lot of experience. Did you think this one worked in spite of that?
Oh no, 100% worked. In fact, if this one had have come out a couple months earlier, I would have been pushing hardcore for it for UFCA awards, and I will be doing it at the end of the year. I think one thing we should also provide some information is that this was filmed during the strike. The director and the writers, like you said, used their friends who happen to be professional stage actors.
Right.
They got a waiver from SAG-AFTRA, so they agreed to the terms of what
It was
they
all
wanted.
legit.
So
Yeah.
all legit. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to try to put one over on you. So yeah, these are stage actors from, I'm sure for most of them, doing their first work in front of the camera. And then the main family unit, the mom, dad, and daughter, they're a real mom, dad, and daughter in real life. So the director was even saying that some of the scenes were just them riffing with each other and putting it on the screen. And I think the only thing we can say about the plot is it is a modern day retelling of Romeo and Juliet. And that's all we can really say because the whole point is figuring out what's going on. And you said it perfectly when we saw it, Counts. It's like it's a steady IV drip. So
Yeah.
you're learning things as everyone else does.
Yeah.
You're putting the pieces together. And there's one scene at the end of the movie where the main character is going to win an Oscar. Or if he doesn't, then, you know, I have no hope in the Oscars anyways. But
Honestly, he should get a nomination for sure. You and I walked away from this one, Adam, feeling like it was a movie like Skywalker's we're going to be talking about come award season.
yes. And I can definitely say that one of our critic colleagues who sat with us said it was the only 5 out of 5 star movie that she saw at Sundance.
Wow.
So yeah, she was a big fan of it. So
Incredible.
yeah,
Well-
Ghostlight, it was picked up by IFC, so it will
Right.
be out. I think April is the release date. So
It actually got picked up before we even saw it. So
Yeah.
its fate had been sealed before we even sat down. But I think it's a really, really good film. Adam, go quickly through the other 3 that you saw that I didn't.
the first one I saw was called, and okay, let me preface this. It's called The American Society of Magical Negroes. And the moment I saw that, I thought it was going to be like some crazy, like racist thing. And then I was like, it's a Sundance, so it can't be that. And no, it's based on a thing that Spike Lee said about movies that have a black character who exists only to move the plot on for a white character. So kind of like The Sexy Lamp or thing like that for the female actor.
You're talking about Bagger Vance, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, or the Green Mile, or things
Right.
like that.
Right.
So this is a story where there actually is the society of Black people and African Americans who their whole goal is they have magical powers, and when they see a white person in distress, they fix the problem, and it makes their lives safer.
Amazing concept.
So it's super funny. It does kind of veer off into the rom-com kind of thing because it's got to be predictable, and that was my biggest complaint was like this is predictable, and that I walked out kind of annoyed by that. But then I thought back to the whole point of the movie is how would you get a group of white people in a movie about all black people and give them a message that's easy to digest and makes an impact and doesn't bring up any anxiety? You do it by making it predictable. So that for me was kind of the whole point. So brilliant kind of thing on that. I also saw Seeking Mavis Beacon, which I was really excited for and then was let down by. So Mavis Beacon, I think a lot of us learned to type that way. Well, it's all about the story that the woman who was the model for Mavis Beacon had some conflict with the studio and just disappeared from the face of the earth one day. No one knew where they went. Well, this African-American filmmaker wanted to go track down to see if she could find her. And so it's kind of like a whodunit clue type thing. And that was interesting, but the problem is that they made it too much about like a Gen Z angsty type movie, which is fine, but it really contrasted with what was on screen. So it just wasn't what I was really hoping it would be.
Sounds like a Sundance movie.
It was the epitome of a Sundance movie. And then the last one we saw was called Desire Lines. And this is made by a film about trans people by trans people and trans men in particular. And it was a hybrid film where it took place as like different time traveling aspects of like this guy studying at this institute about the history of trans people and then interviewing real life trans men about their lived experiences. I think they should have done just the documentary side. I think mixing it together didn't work quite well. I had kind of a hokey, weird ending, but it was really interesting to have these people be very candid about their lives, like what it's like being a trans guy. What is it like about dating? What's it like about just living your life, going to the store, or your sex life, or things that you may not have thought about because we're not trans people, we're cis men. So very, very interesting. I just wish it would have focused solely on the documentary part and not the hybrid movie part.
The 3 I saw that you didn't see, I saw Love Me, which was the high concept romance between Stephen Ewan and Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart, by the way, had a couple movies at Sundance. It was kind of her year this year, but this one was a story about a satellite and a buoy, but like a smart buoy floating in the ocean. And they come in contact with each other and they fall in love and create avatars of themselves so that they can be together in a digital space. Like I said, high concept. Do they stick the landing? I'm not entirely sure, but I do have to say that I enjoyed myself. The one thing that Sundance gets right, Adam, and I know you're going to agree too, Brooks, is length. Every movie's an hour and a half, and I love that. And this too.
This year, everything was exactly how long it should have been. I didn't walk out. Well, Mavis Beacon felt long, but I walked out like this is how long it should have been.
Yeah, this is the exact opposite of what we're going to review next.
I don't want to give too much away,
No
but you're
spoilers,
exactly right. So Love Me, I liked. I probably need to see it again. Interesting setup, though. I also, because I typically cover US drama and US docs, I wanted to see the winners of those categories. So rather than watch all 10 in each categories, I just went straight to the winner. So I don't have an opinion about whether or not they should have won, but the dramatic winner was In the Summers, a movie about a troubled father and his two daughters. He has summer custody of them, and it's several summers over the course of their lives together where the daughters, the sisters, come back and spend time with their father. It's beautifully done. Very, very well acted. I like that movie a lot. I also saw Porcelain War, which won the US documentary, but it takes place in Ukraine, kind of a follow-up to 20 Days in Mariupol. It's a couple of artists who live in Ukraine that are living through the war. He's a special forces soldier, and they both create tiny porcelain figurines. And the juxtaposition of that incredibly beautiful, detailed, hand-drawn, hand-created work in and amongst all this incredible destruction is really quite beautiful. And I think that movie, like Mariupol, is something we're going to be talking about at awards season as well. Beautiful movie, Porcelain War. Brooks, I'm going to put you on the spot here at the end. Which of these films that we've talked about are you excited to see?
Probably Skywalkers. And I mean, everyone's talking about Ghostlight, so I have to watch that.
I think you're going to like both of those. I know you well enough to know that you're going to find the charm of Ghostlight to be, it's going to work for you. And I think Skywalkers is going to blow your mind, just like it did us.
And honestly, like, you need to go see Skywalkers in a theater. Like, if you could see it in IMAX, like, that'd be the way to see it. Because I was getting nervous and like the pit of my stomach feeling just watching it on my TV at home. Definitely. And everyone told me like, oh, you're watching it at home. Like, well, it was sold out in theaters. Like, I couldn't go see it. So.
I got to tell you, Adam, I watched it on my laptop. Still blew me away. Honestly, it's so beautifully shot. I don't think there's a form factor on which this movie doesn't work. It's so well done from a visual standpoint. All right. That's our Sundance report from 2024. I bet next year we'll have a lot more to talk about. It was an interesting year. I think that there are lots of films we're going to be talking about during awards season, and also some very Sundance films, which we're going to be mad about for several months. Speaking of mad.
Mavis Beacon.
Like Mavis Beacon. Speaking of mad, our next film is Argylle, Matthew Vaughn's latest. Before we get into it, let's listen to a little bit of the trailer.
Oh my God, you're Ellie friggin' Conway.
Author of Argylle series, Ellie Conway!
I am such a fan.
Oh yeah? What is it you do?
Espionage.
Would you sign my book?
Here we go. I love this book.
Okay, Brooks, give us a little bit more on that one. What's it about?
So Matthew Vaughn's decided to throw everything he can think of, including the kitchen sink, into a blender. And we've got a character named Ellie Conway, played by Bryce Dallas Howard. She writes spy novels with a character named Argylle in it. And she lives in this fantasy world. She's very introverted. And one day on a train, she has a close encounter with Aiden, played by Sam Rockwell, who takes her on quite the adventure to find out who Argylle really is.
If that sounds familiar, meaning you've seen this kind of story before, you'd be right. All right, Adam, Matthew Vaughn, Kingsman, Stardust, Kick-Ass,
X-Men First Class.
X-Men First Class. Yeah. When you hear this pedigree, I think you expect a certain level of coherence and quality.
He did Layer Cake too, right?
He also did Layer Cake.
Yeah.
Yes. Did we get coherence and quality here, Adam?
Before we jump into there, I think we really should talk about the elephant in the room.
Which is?
This needed to be an R-rated movie.
Yes. And you could tell that's what he wanted to make.
Okay, so I know what you're saying. He's at his best when he's got an R rating. Kick-Ass was an R-rated movie, right? It needed
Yes.
to be.
The Kingsman's.
Kingsman was an R-rated movie, definitely needed to be. X-Men First Class was not
Well,
and didn't need
Right.
to be. Stardust
see-
was not and didn't need to be. But I do find that his voice is probably the most crisp when he's got the blinders off a little bit, right?
Mhm.
Right. So a movie that's a good action movie does not have to be an R-rated movie. We saw that with Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny.
Right.
We already talked about Days of First Class. But his brand of movie making is around that. And we're not going to give any spoilers, but essentially speaking, if they're trying to do this trilogy, they're kind of branch out and do some
Good
tie-ins
luck.
and stuff. The worlds they're trying to create don't exist outside of an R rating. And there were some moments that were great. Matthew Vaughn, like, okay, I know exactly this is a scene that he's 100% dedicated to. This is like his trademark. But everything that is in this movie, aside from, I'd say, 2 scenes, feel like the studio was squeezing his neck because they wanted to wring every dollar out of this movie they possibly could and didn't let him be his creative level that he normally is. And in the long run, it just kind of like,
And it's a long run.
Yeah. Speaking of long, this movie is 2.5 hours. It's far too long for this kind of story. But I think to compensate for the fact that he didn't have the freedom of the R rating, Brooks, he made a mistake, which is he stopped trying to be funny and he just focused on being silly. And I think the difference between funny and silly is at the core of what's wrong with this movie. Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, there are scenes where you can tell it's total Matthew Vaughn bliss, and they're both at the end of the movie.
Yep.
So I guess in a way, at least he saved the best for last, except that for me, this very much feels like a Shyamalan movie meets Lord of the Rings, where it's like, it's just twist after twist after twist and false ending after false ending after false ending, but you just don't care by then.
Well, a movie like this lives and dies by its twist. Adam,
Mhm.
this movie has a million twists. Do you think there were too many? I do.
yeah, it almost became a cliche where it was like trying to like, okay, guess what's going to happen? Oh, you're wrong. It's actually this. And that happened multiple times throughout the movie. But it was almost like a haunting in Venice where there are all these twists coming and you see them coming the moment the movie starts. Like even the twist upon a twist upon a twist, like Inception style twists, you knew it was going to be there. There was not
Mhm.
one surprise in the entire movie. I mean, Brooks, did you feel the same way? Because I walked out being like, that was exactly what I expected.
It was exactly what the trailers promise, which
Yeah.
doesn't say a lot for people because everyone I've talked to hates the trailer. But what was I going to say? I can't remember.
Your train of thought is still boarding at the station.
Yeah, which makes sense for this movie because it just goes off the rails.
I'm leaving that in. That's too
I was saying
good.
that's got to be there. Yeah.
I'm leaving that in. You know, Brooks, you mentioned a couple scenes. You talked about Matthew Vaughn Bliss. I'm not going to say what the scenes are in this movie, but I will draw your attention back to the first Kingsman and the head popping
Mm.
ballet.
Oh, immediately that's what I thought of. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the color,
The
the
stylized
MTV video stylized nature of it was fabulous. It's what he does best. And there are 2 of those in this movie. They happen in quick succession. And I felt like the second one was kind of a letdown after the first one. I didn't feel like he needed 2 of those set pieces. That's what this movie is, though. It's bloated. It's overstuffed. There's too much of everything. I think less of everything might have just fixed everything. If the whole thing had been 90 minutes instead of 2.5 hours, if the jokes had been funny instead of silly, if he'd done a few less twists and a few less set pieces, just less of everything, I think this thing could have been saved. But as it stands, it seems like 3 movies stuffed into one package.
at least.
So
Yeah,
you're saying it's a turducken of a movie.
you got it. That's exactly right. Even though by the time you get to those wonderful moments at the end, Brooks and I were sitting right next to each other, Adam, when we saw this, and we were smiling from ear to ear during those moments. And I think it was because we both felt like, finally,
Here it is.
Matthew Vaughn, the real Matthew Vaughn, finally stood up, and we
Like,
were
this
both
is what we
waiting.
came for. And I don't know what they think they're going to do with whatever that last twist is during the end credits.
Yeah, I mean,
Again, another twist.
it's
that
clear.
makes zero sense.
It's clear they want to go back and tell prequel type stories in this
Something,
world.
yeah. And maybe
And
that would work better.
I will go see it because I like Matthew Vaughn, but I hope he learns from the commentary surrounding this one, because this one needed a lot more care.
Vaughn.
And a lot more of him.
I still will go back to what I said at the beginning. Had to spend an R-rated film with just Vaughn doing his own thing, I think we all would have been sitting here singing his praises.
Well, I would
Mhm.
love to see an R-rated version of Argylle. I don't want it to be 3.5 hours long, though. That's not what I mean
God,
by a
no.
director's cut. I want it to
Just
be a
remake
half
it.
hour shorter with more raunchy stuff. I really hope that something like that happens, if not in this film, in the next one.
Yes.
Let's score it. I
Mhm.
will go first, and then I'll pass it off to you, Brooks. Because of a couple of redeeming moments at the end, this movie for me landed at 2 stars, right
Yeah.
down the middle. It's half of a good experience. 2 stars for me. Brooks, what about you?
I guess, yeah, I'm feeling basically the same way. I'm giving it 2 stars, one for each of those scenes.
Yes.
Those 2 scenes got their own star, and the rest of the movie, I'll never watch it again.
Adam?
And just so everyone knows, we don't discuss our ratings before we do this show.
We
that's
absolutely
live.
do not. We do
No.
So
not.
I also am giving it 2 out of 4 turduckens. So
Well, speaking of animals, this movie had a cat prominently featured in it. You see that in the trailer.
badly done.
We
Cat.
didn't mention it because it honestly matters very little to the plot of this film. It's a MacGuffin at best.
Oh, yeah.
But the cat is in the movie. So we, for our guilty pleasures, are going to talk about movies with prominent cats that are bad, but we love them anyways.
Me.
We'll come back. We'll come back in a few minutes and do that. Welcome back to Big Movie Mouth Off. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Guilty Pleasures, Cat Movie Edition. Brooks, you're up.
Well, I mean, if you know me, it's probably going to be something very obvious. There were 2 I had to pick from. They're both from Stephen King,
Mhm.
but I decided to go with Pet Cemetery.
Which
but
one?
Yes.
The original.
The original.
Although
Thank
the
you.
new one is a better Dark Tower movie than the Dark Tower movie, as much as I love that one. But I mean, it's creepy, it's weird, and it felt like a Stephen King movie. It's nowhere near as dark as the book. Neither of the movies are.
No.
But real quick, if I can squeeze it in, my other option was Cat's Eye.
Oh,
that
nice.
he
Okay.
wrote the screenplay for, because
Yeah.
the cat just kind of wanders around until it finally gets its due at the end and finally becomes a main character.
I don't think the original Pet Cemetery is very good, so it's a good guilty pleasure. I do have to say, though, that when that cat comes back, sorry, spoiler alert, it's pretty scary. That cat looks pretty
That
frightening.
cat's creepy.
They did a really good job with that, but that movie I don't think is awesome. So Pet Cemetery, and what was the other one?
Cat's Eye.
Cat's Eye, you get a bonus. All right, I'm going to go next. Adam asked to be last for reasons that will be clear shortly. My guilty pleasure is actually not a movie. It's a television show.
Ooh.
And I'm talking about the cat named Grudge in Star Trek Discovery. He was Book's cat. Star Trek Discovery started out great and I think got less good as it went along. I watched every minute of it, but I think by the end they were jumping the shark a little bit.
Yeah, I fell out in season 2.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did, but that cat was a fun part of it. It's a huge cat. I don't know what that breed is called, but it's massive. And it was kind of always present on this ship that I think dominated most of season 3. I love that show, even though probably I should have given up on it when you did, Adam. My second one, my bonus, it's funny, whenever I do these guilty pleasures, I always go online and I Google the topic just to see what other people are saying.
Yeah, that's what
And
I do.
And for this one, the one that was on everybody's list, which I totally agreed with, was The Unnamed Cat in Breakfast at Tiffany's, which is one of my
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
all-time favorite movies. That cat,
Yeah.
that orange tabby is like a Greek chorus in that movie. It just makes faces and poses and it's amazing. And the only reason that movie is a guilty pleasure at all, and it is because of Mickey Rooney and his terrible
Oh,
depiction
yeah.
of a Japanese person. Just horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Stereotypical.
I haven't seen that
it's-
movie in so long. I was like, I totally blanked that was
You can go
very
on.
horrible
It makes it
part
very
of that.
hard to watch.
It really does. You can go online and watch that scene. And if you don't cringe right out of your shirt, there's something wrong with you. So my 2 in reverse order, Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Unnamed Cat, and the cat named Grudge in, I think, the 3rd and maybe 4th seasons of Star Trek Discovery, a show that didn't get better as it went along. Adam,
Ew.
okay, here we go. You're up.
Come on.
All right, so I said I need to go last because I think we're going to lose listeners. Like they're going to stop this or they're going to like yell at their car because I love this movie dearly. It is a beloved movie by people of all generations, but it is not a good movie, and that would be Hocus Pocus.
Oh my goodness.
We have to watch it every year.
I love it. I love it dearly. I love the sequel.
I'm fine with
it's-
it.
And
I like the sequel better.
Thackeray Binks is the cat we're talking about, the talking cat that the guy got shrunk into a
Mhm.
cat. But I hadn't watched it in forever. And for Big Shiny Robot, like God, about a decade ago now, we went back and we were doing Halloween themed movies and reviewing them. And I watched it again, and I've watched it many, many times since then. But I was like, this is not a good movie. It's just that nostalgia thing that gets you in there. Like the script doesn't make sense a lot of the time. It is supported by very, very strong performances by the actors and actresses in that. But I will go on record that it is not a good movie, but I do love it dearly. And I will, if it's one of those movies that if it's on TV, I will stop and watch it. But it is not a good movie.
I think it is absolutely terrible. If I find that movie on TV, I turn the TV off and unplug it because I think it is
I will watch it every single time.
a terrible movie. You will notice that none of us said cats because Adam made it very clear when I announced this guilty pleasure to you guys a couple of days ago that no one was allowed to say cats or they were immediately kicked off the show. But let's go through our guilty pleasures cat movies one more time. Mine was a television show, actually, Star Trek Discovery. Adam
Hocus Pocus.
and Brooks.
Pet Cemetery.
All right. We're going to take one more break on this episode of Big Movie Mouth Off. When we come back, we're reinstating coming attractions. Welcome back one last time on this episode of Big Movie Mouth Off, talking now about our coming attractions. These are things we're excited for. It doesn't have to be a movie, but mine is. You guys know I love the director, Alex Garland.
Yes.
I love 28 Days Later. I loved Ex Machina. I loved Annihilation. He's got a movie coming out in April 12th, called Civil War. It's hard
Yes.
to know exactly what you're getting into with this film, but I just have one thing to say. Nick Offerman as president? Yes, please. I'm in. This movie looks incredible. It looks like an Alex Garland movie. The cast is unbelievable. The effects look great. The story, even though I can't really parse it yet, looks like it's going to be deep and complicated and wonderful. Super excited about Civil War. What about you, Adam? What's your coming attraction?
So we're going back on the video game thing because I haven't done it for a while. I've been good.
Fair enough.
But the demo just dropped and I played it and my jaw was on the floor. So it is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Oh, yeah.
which is the second in the trilogy of the Final Fantasy VII series that Square Enix is doing. This one takes place literally the moment you end the first game, it starts over. Takes everything about the first one, makes it a million times better. This one was built for the PS5 from the ground up. So you actually get all the bells and whistles a PS5 game would have. The demo is cool also because if you play and beat it, when you get to that part in the main game, you can skip it. So it's not like a normal demo where you have to go through and do it again, but it gave me everything I've ever wanted. I got to do some things I never thought I would be able to do. That was super, super cool. And one of the most infamous moments in a video game takes place in this one. But according to the developers, you might be able to do things that change the future. Because that's the whole point, is that you're changing the future in this game. So if that actually happens for reals, like Square Enix will drown in money because everyone will buy this game just for that one moment if you can change it. So it comes out February 29th, so leap year. So the day we don't ever have. I've already pre-ordered it. I spent way too much money on the special edition. And if you get the demo, you can play through the base version right now. And then between now and the 29th, they're going to drop a second part of it. So you actually can do the open world exploring with the different characters. So,
Is it fully rendered? Does it look good?
oh, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. Like the difference between in-game graphics and the actual like full motion video type stuff, it looks the same. It's
Great.
Gorgeous.
All right, Brooks, what's your coming attraction?
Well, it comes out a month from yesterday, and it's another Blumhouse movie. It's Imaginary.
Oh,
So
yeah.
excited.
Oh,
I gotta
yeah,
stick
yeah.
with my killer doll movies.
Killer dolls. That's the quickest way to Brooks' heart, is a doll that will
Oh.
murder you.
Oh yeah, I mean it's about a lady who returns to her childhood home, and her child finds one of her old teddy bears, and it's not happy that it got left behind, and it
No.
has some issues.
It's
with
got
that.
some things to say about it. All
Yeah.
right.
So hopefully it'll be a better version of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness. That
The
won't
trailer
that's
is
nowhere to go but up from there. Brooks, what's yours again?
Imaginary.
Adam?
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
And mine is Alex Garland's Civil War. That's going to do it for episode 15. Like I said, we're in the tough part of the year. It's going to be a struggle to come up with things to talk about, but that's what you pay us for. We'll be back with episode 16 in a couple of weeks. Until then, I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Thanks for being with us. Big Movie Mouth Off was produced and edited by me, Jeff Counts, and co-hosted by Adam McDonald and Brooks Bird. Our theme music is written by Brian Z. Richards, and this show is dedicated to the memory of our founders, Jeff Michael Weiss, and my partner in crime for over 5 years, the incomparable Jimmy Martin.